Hey Reactors, I'm Erica and I'm the host of the Relatable Reactions podcast where we react to real stories from the interwebs. This episode features one of my favorite girlfriends, Jamie, who I've known since I think about 2009.
Yep.
Say hey.
That. Hey.
Jamie and I actually met through a mutual friend who you've already heard on episode 1, KG, and Chow. We used to party hard together, okay?
My head still hurts from some of those nights.
Is that why I got a hangover still?
Yeah. 12 years, 15 years in the making.
I'm happy you did the math for me because I didn't know. We're grown now. We have kids, partners, and different perspectives on life, and I'm so happy she's here.
Thank you.
Jamie is joining me this episode to provide relatable reactions to 8 stories about relationships, marriage, friendships, and more. I'll read a story, we'll talk about it, give quasi advice about what we would do, and then we'll move on to the next story. Before we begin, hit the subscribe button so you can catch future episodes on your favorite podcast platform. Okay, Jamie, are you ready for the first story?
As ready as I'm ever gonna be.
Okay. This first story is titled, He Spent Our Baby Fund.
Uh-oh.
So the author writes, I need advice. I recently gave birth to our baby girl about 2 weeks ago. My partner and I received some money from the baby shower and from coworkers, which we put in a baby bottle jar in the kitchen. It was about $400 cash, plus about the same in gift cards. Today I went to add $20 to the jar and found that all the cash was gone. I'm currently on maternity leave, so I have no income. However, I did put away an extra $150 into the jar while I was working to help with bills. I also scrimped and saved to stock the house with all our essentials like pet food, groceries, paper towels, toilet paper, soap, detergent. I bought paint for the baby's room, a drill for him, covered all the baby shower costs, took the pets to the vet and groomers, and I generally don't buy anything for myself. I'm very upset that he spent that money and didn't even tell me. It's in a baby bottle jar.
Seriously.
I feel like he took it from the baby. What if she needs something? He's probably low on money because he did lose his job around the time I went on maternity leave, so he's been off for a full month, just like me. He hasn't been doing Uber deliveries, and I guess he had not saved any money or filed his tax refund like I did. He started a new job last week, but hasn't been paid yet. He isn't responsible for any additional costs from what he normally would be. I don't feel like I can ask him to pay for anything that I normally would have bought because he's broke. So far, it's been okay because I covered everything I used to pay for. He does bills and I do the household. I feel insecure about our future now because that money was supposed to help cover expenses for me being off work and for the baby, and we're starting to run out of things. Now he's spent our savings, and he spent it all without even mentioning it to me. We haven't had a chance to talk about it yet, as I just found out and he's not home. Any advice on how to bring this up is appreciated because I feel like he lied to me and cheated our child. I'm very angry and I don't want to act out of anger, but I feel this is a major problem. The end.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. So, okay. If we operate under the pretense of he took it, because her gut is saying he took it and he didn't put it in the bank. You know, he just took it. My gut says, you're in for some trouble. You're in for some huge trouble. And I want to know, I know obviously we can't know what he says to defend himself, but like, say he went and put it in the bank. Awesome. Great. But I feel like she would have known that.
Mm-hmm.
And if there wasn't any left,
probably just the gift cards, because she said the money was gone, so I don't know if the gift cards are still there. That's terrible.
He has to communicate that. He has to say, hey, I use this for XYZ or whatever. The fact that she literally just expelled a goddamn human out of her fucking body.
Exactly.
And is probably tending to such newborn nonstop, right? She still found a way to pay all the shit she's been paying.
And what did he need it for anyway now? Because she seems to have set them up for a little bit.
Well, she said he does the bills, which I assume to be like utilities, etc., and she does the house. So how do you pay the utilities with fucking cash?
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
Yep.
Rolling up the NICOR and ComEd with cash. I don't know. Something tells me they might have some communication issues.
Well, that and just this is such a red flag. Like you can't even ask me,
Or just
say,
talk about
babe,
it.
hey, I need, the tire got flat.
Right.
I don't know what other reason.
Right. Whatever it is.
He should have said something first.
I just feel like her mind is preoccupied, right?
Mm-hmm.
She just literally
2 weeks.
Yeah. Had a baby. And so maybe he didn't want to bother her. Maybe we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he didn't want to bother her. Because she's tired.
Well, she bothered now, honey.
But now it's worse, And she's also went to great lengths trying to continue, yes, to prepare, but also to continue things because of his situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder if she had communicated that. It seems like they might not talk a lot about this kind of stuff, which...
Like, what was his expectations of what the baby bottle jar was for? Like, maybe he's like, is this petty cash?
Yeah,
okay,
exactly. Well, I need something, And so it's just, there needs to be communication. But if her gut feeling is that he just took it and it's gone and nothing to show for it and it's not going towards the things that they have already set up, then I feel terrible for her. Yeah. I do. And I want to punch him in his baby maker.
Make sure he won't be doing that again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, even her thoughts of, like, the money is actually in a baby bottle jar, and she feels like he took it from the baby. Yeah. Like, put me aside. This money was for our kid for the most part.
Right.
And we got it from the baby shower, so it was to go towards things for the baby. And 100%. She was putting in extra in there.
And they're running out of things now, she said.
Yep.
They're starting to run low. Diapers, supplies, etc. Like, this is where I'm like, dude,
you're either dumb or you know what you're doing.
Man up.
Yeah.
Man up. And by all society standards, I am all about, like, equality and everything. But her body is taxed. Her mind is taxed. She's exhausted. She's just done her part. Yeah. Right?
She don't need this to worry about.
It sucks that he lost his job, but go fucking do something. Mm-hmm. Anything.
She mentioned, like, the Uber deliveries and all of that stuff.
Right.
Like,
Hustle.
Yeah.
Get it
it's
done.
It's time to change up when you have a kid. And that's like, I'm going to go down, a rabbit hole. But I think it seems like 60 to 70% of, like, couples have that issue. Like, the woman is literally not only renting out her womb, but everything after that with baby care because the baby is so dependent on the mom. And I feel like dads and boyfriends and partners, they may be a little detached because, like, I really had nothing to do with any of this.
Right.
The first initial, like, pow, pow, thank you. But after that, it's like, it's been all you, so I'm detached from the situation.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard unless you live it yourself. And obviously men can't live that themselves. Yeah. But
empathy,
but here's what I have found. If it's not tangible, you would think a fucking human being would be tangible enough. Yep. But if it's not tangible and it doesn't cause them, like, some sort of physical pain or something, I tend to not it's. I was listening to an audiobook recently about invisible work. That's what it's called, invisible work. Women just. A lot of moms, we've always wanted to be the, like, watch, I could do so many things. But then when you bring a child in, it's so overwhelming. And we've set up the system that way a lot of times as women, being like, oh, I'm so helpful, I'm so agreeable, and I could do X, Y, Z, and watch me, spin all these plates at the same time. But then literally you add children to it, and it's like, holy fuck.
Right.
This is... I'm in over my head. I'm in over my head. And now I need you to help, and I never had you help, and now, that's... So some of it's on us, but, like, it's unintentioned, if that's even a word. And I don't know. It's just, I feel really bad for her. That baby is going to be loved by her and taken care by her because even if she has to fucking hustle, she's going to do it. That's it. Like any mom would. But at the same time, this is some bullshit.
Yeah.
Excuse my language.
No, fuck that. Because she wants to know how to bring this up. And she's already very angry, and she says she doesn't want to act out of anger. But this is egregious.
I'm pissed off. Well, so here's the thing. I think she should just say, like, hey, babe, where did the cash go that was in the bottle?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just a neutral question, as neutral as you can possibly be, because again, my little asterisk is we don't know
what he
you
did
know,
with it
maybe
yet.
he did put it in the bank so that he could pay the utilities.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah.
And, you know, she didn't say he has any weird habits or, you know, he's not a gambler or into something that, you know, he went and bought you know, a bunch of stuff he shouldn't have, you know, or video games and things like that. So, who knows? But if her gut says he was just siphoning for his own purposes.
Well, so that is a good point. Like, how often does she kind of see the jar? Like, if she just came to drop some money off and like all of it's gone. But like you said, has he been pulling a 20? Has he been pulling a you know, like
right?
Or did he go in there and snatch everything? That would be interesting to know. But yeah, you're right. Communication. A neutral question. Hey, babe, I went to go put some money in the jar and I noticed it was empty. What happened to it?
What's up? Yeah.
And then watch him like a hawk.
No. Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, and part of me's like, they had some sort of agreement, right? She alluded to that. They had an agreement of how they did the bills when they were both working. He lost his job. She's on leave. There's an element of plan or updating that plan that should have happened, and it didn't.
After the job loss.
Granted, she was busy.
You think?
You know, and maybe he was, you know, busy helping too. But where are you, dude? You're not even fucking home. You don't have a job. Where are you? Why can't she ask you the question?
Exactly.
Where are you?
He took the 4 and split.
You know, like, I'm just like, is he out applying for jobs? Or like, why are you not home helping if you don't have a job?
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's my thoughts on it.
And that's that on that. Next story. Okay, this one's titled, "My friend had sex with me while I was drunk and I feel weird about it."
Oh.
They say, "I've been a lurker for a while, but just made an account because I needed to get this off my chest. This past Friday, I went out with some coworkers. We're all engineers and we like to go out for drinks ever so often. Since the mask mandates where I live were recently lifted, a group of us decided to meet up. Since it had been such a long time since I last drank with friends, I lost control and drank more than I should have. I honestly don't even remember how much. Anyway, one of the guys took me to his place because I was sick. I don't really remember agreeing to it, but I may have. My memories are pretty foggy. I do remember getting really sick. I threw up on his floor when I walked in. I also remember throwing up in the bathroom. Where it gets a little sketchy is that he had sex with me. We're both gay, but I'm in a relationship and I would never have wanted to cheat on my partner. I don't remember how we even got to that point since my memory is hazy and I was blacked out, but we definitely did it. I went home in the morning and he didn't act like anything was weird when I left. I have this sinking feeling in my stomach, but he's my friend and I don't want to ruin the relationship. I haven't told my boyfriend yet. I don't really know what to do. Any advice would be appreciated."
Whew. Do you want to know what I think right off the bat?
Yeah, of course.
I think he might have been drugged. Friend or not. That sounds... When you get that drunk that fast and you don't remember anything.
Yes.
Speaking from experience, that's what happens.
And you wouldn't even
the
attribute
puking,
it.
the not remembering, all of that. Like, unless he said he had, like, you know, insane amounts of alcohol.
Yeah.
The whole haziness to the situation makes me think he might have been slipped. Something.
Think so.
Yeah.
So the first thing I thought was, you know, when you don't drink for a while, your tolerance kind of just plummets. And the first time you have a shot, you're off your ass.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's the first
So
thing
could be.
But the combination, you think, of just because of the haziness?
Yeah. The one time that I was involved in an incident, it was me and my girlfriend. And we both did not remember drinking that much. And both of us were throwing up and both of us, like, real bad. And the gentleman that was helping us, and I'm using air quotes, helping us, brought us back to his place. And I have distinct memories of this gentleman trying things and me fighting. Yeah.
Jamie, what?
Yep, kicking him and stuff. And so then he went to my friend, and my friend actually did like him.
Okay.
And we didn't know know. But now that I look back on it as a young person, I'm like, that motherfucker, either he or his friend who was the bartender, slipped something in our drinks because it was so uncharacteristically crazy that we had a few drinks and we were both barfing and we were both out of our minds. And so, but it took years for like the memory to come out where I was like, remember being like on a staircase, like sitting and like fighting. Yeah. So that is like, and me being a strong, independent, fiery asshole of a person, like, you know, I am strong-willed, all those things. And like, it could happen to anybody, you know? So that, it was just the first thing I thought of when you were reading it, only because
interesting.
It doesn't seem like the amount he describes that he had matched up with.
You could be right.
I mean, who knows?
If that was the thing, then I mean, that's a coworker.
Yeah.
So you say that, you know, you had this situation and it didn't really dawn on you until years later. If it had dawned on you at that point, like maybe the next day, like this person, what would you do? Would you get the authorities involved? Like, would you?
Well, they're a coworker, so I don't think I personally would. I think I just would remove myself from the social circle and just business as usual. And now, I mean, this poor guy has cheated on his partner. Feels all sorts of terrible.
Yep.
And the friend is acting like nothing happened, which also to me is another one of those weird signs.
Yep.
Because it should be awkward. It should
weird. Absolutely be awkward. Even if it was just alcohol,
right,
and not something else on top of it. Because there's twofold here. There's the drugging that we might be suspicious of, and actual rape.
100%.
There's two things now that you need to consider.
Yeah. And or even if it was consensual, it should still be awkward as hell the next morning, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, I saw your penis. You saw my penis
last night.
You know, like, hey, like, awkward.
Right.
And you know I have a partner.
And you have one. We're both in a relationship. Yeah.
Yep. It should have been awkward. And the fact that it was just like, no big deal it just makes me wonder. It just makes me wonder.
It's icky, man. Like, you can't, it's so, just having to protect yourself at all times. Like, can you literally not trust anyone? Like,
nope. I don't
to get off your square. Yeah. To get off your square, I feel like, you know, getting drunk or even drinking around people, there's a level of trust that you have to kind of have. Like, if I fall off, you know, if I come out my circle, I need you to pull me back in.
If
like,
I'm not back from the bathroom, if I'm not back from my date, if I'm not, you know, all those things.
Look out for me. Yeah. And so if this...
It was a trusted situation, though. Everybody was... So here's the thing. It could have just been overconsumption because the mask mandate was lifted with COVID and you're just excited to be out. Like, sure, I used to do this all the time. So for whatever the circumstance, it's still incredibly awkward, disheartening.
Yeah.
Especially if he doesn't remember consenting.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know.
Because then now you don't, like, how do you fight that?
Right.
You know, afterwards.
Right.
Like,
you really, can you? You know, the burden of proof is with the freaking victim. So, you know, it's like just one of those things where I don't even know. I don't know. I think I would.
Would you talk to him, the coworker,
absolutely,
and say, what the
absolutely,
fuck?
Absolutely. Before I even left. Before I even left in the morning.
Yeah.
I would be like, listen, we got to talk this through. My memory's a little bit hazy. Walk me through. Thank you for bringing me home and taking care of me, but like walk me through what happened. All the way down to the details, even the last detail. Because I need to hear you and see you say it.
That's a good point. He shouldn't have went home immediately.
I would just... As painful as it is for many reasons, it would be good to have that person's account of it instead of wondering. But again, hindsight's,
It surely is, because
2020.
life is made up of shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and I'm sure we all would have liked to get it right the first time.
Yeah.
But yeah, a follow-up call. Hey, can we meet at Starbucks?
Yep.
Because I'm surely not meeting you in a dark alley, your place or mine.
Exactly.
Let's meet at a Starbucks, and because I just have a couple questions about last night.
Yeah. I think the follow-up, watching somebody in their face explain it to you.
This is not a text conversation.
No. You got to see them. You got to look them in the eyes. Have them look you in your eye. To know. I mean, you'd have to gauge it to see whether you can even trust them. Mm-hmm. Because you did trust them, and then look what happened. So, I mean, we're all accountable to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But if there was any sort of, bad intentions on the other end, then you might be able to get that from somebody by looking at them and talking with them face to face.
And hopefully they also know what happened, because what if this person also was, blacked out or at that point where both of you are like,
right.
So maybe
this person might not have done anything. Maybe somebody, if there was something like funky like that, slipping something in a drink, it might not have even been that person. It could, you know what I'm saying? So like, they might also feel some sort of violation that you don't know about until you talk. Yeah. So if they want to stay friends, I think they need to just have that conversation and work through the feelings that came with it.
I'm so sorry this happened to that person. And yeah, everything Jamie said was right. My first inclination is tell somebody else, you know, and like, how do you tell your boyfriend? Like, oh,
well, that's one of the harder questions. Do you?
Yeah.
And I don't know. A lot of times people who cheat tell their spouse to make themselves feel better. Mm-hmm. But then again, if he was violated, that's traumatic. Mm-hmm. So you want to tell the person you're closest to so they can help you through the trauma. Right. But a lot comes with that.
A whole lot comes with that.
That person's going to have a lot of feelings about the other person.
Exactly.
And then that person's in a relationship, and it could just get real crazy real fast.
You're right. Yeah, because now this is a situation outside of just the two of them now. Mm-hmm. Like if this friend actually did this and you've brought in two additional indirect, innocent parties into this fuck shit.
That are going to have all the feelings. Anger. Hopefully no violence. But
so.
you know what I'm saying? Like, but if my partner told me that they might have been violated by somebody, I would knock the shit out of that person.
I would find, yes.
And so, and who knows, the truth's always in the middle somewhere. Mm-hmm. Because memories, can trick us a little bit. Yeah. And if
your mind tries to fill in gaps that may not be, accurate or whatever.
For sure.
There's also what I'm seeing here in some of the comments is like, you should probably go to a hospital and get tested for like STDs and stuff. Yeah. Like there's a whole whirlwind now of stuff that you need to consider.
Yeah, for you and your partner. So there's that.
Yeah. And so I feel like now you do have to tell your partner.
Yeah.
This is so messy.
Well, my heart goes out to him and his partner, and I really do hope everything's okay and it can get.
Someone mentioned Rohypnol.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And it's detected in the urine 3 to 5 days after the incident, so that person would still have time if they went and got, a rape kit or whatever.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good to know.
Yeah. And what's interesting is the title of this is My Friend Had Sex With Me While I Was Drunk and I Feel Weird About It. Someone in the comments said, I'm fixing your title to I was raped by some asshole who took advantage of me. Also, I was possibly roofied. You hit it right on the head. Yeah, that's it.
That's crazy. Because it's so weird. That's the first thing I thought of. Mm-hmm. That haziness, because it just, nothing connects. Mm-hmm. Like, I drank
have a memory or you don't.
Yeah, I drank 17 shots of tequila and I threw up all night. Okay, makes sense. Mm-hmm. I had a couple shots and 2 beers and I'm throwing up everywhere, and somebody out of the kindness of their heart takes me to their home.
Exactly.
Like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
So.
Gosh, I wish there was an update.
I know.
And I hope this person's okay.
Me too.
Next story. This one is great.
Oh, this one is? Oh, okay.
I mean, not really.
You're going to get me mad.
We don't talk about rainbows on this podcast. We talk about hellions.
And I love that I have no idea what you're about to say on
know.
any of these. So, this is going to get...
Okay, so they practically put everything in the title. This author, a 28-year-old male, says, my girlfriend told me she was with a friend, but that friend was with me picking out an engagement ring. How do I confront my girlfriend about her lie?
Oh, shit.
I know, it's sad. Okay, so I am planning on proposing to my girlfriend of 3 years. She's 26. Now, I suck at picking out jewelry. I'm the type of guy who doesn't see a problem with heart-shaped jewelry, so every time I want...
Fuck. Don't do it.
Every kiss will not begin with K if you bring home some heart-shaped jewelry.
I haven't met a heart jewelry that I have liked ever.
Over the age of 5.
Yeah, exactly.
So every time I want to buy something from my girl, I usually consult with one of our mutual friends. My girl's best friends are all friends with me as well, and we all get along well. So asking them for help picking out jewelry is something I'm used to. When it came time to pick out a ring, I consulted my girlfriend's best friend, Justine. Justine and I are quite close, and she knows my girlfriend better than anyone, including me. So when my girlfriend went out to visit her sister and baby nephew, I invited Justine over to the house to help pick out a ring. Justine and I looked through a few catalogs, but decided it was a dead end and it would be better to go to professionals at a jewelry store. However, I didn't know when my girlfriend would be coming home, so Justine and I thought of a clever text to gauge how much time we had. I asked her when she'd be coming home, as I was ordering takeout and wanted to know when to tell them to have the food ready. She responded by saying it would be a few hours. She had just met up with Justine to go shopping. Now, obviously, this took me by surprise since Justine was standing inside my house. I showed Justine the text, and she looked as confused as I was. It isn't out of the ordinary for my girlfriend to meet up with people out of the blue like that for shopping, lunch, etc. She's a very spontaneous person and loves making plans on the fly. So ordinarily, I would have believed this text in a heartbeat. However, obviously this was a lie. When she came home, she acted completely normal, and I played along, but it's been really hard to act like everything's fine. We got takeout, ate together, and cuddled on the couch after. So far, she's caught on a little that something's upsetting me, but I just can't tell her what. Looking at her kills me. I don't know what to do. My girlfriend and I have zero trust issues, and we tell each other everything, so this lie is killing me. I want to ask her about it so bad, but if I tell her I knew she was lying, I'd have to explain why, and I really don't want to do that. What do? I know she lied to me, but I don't know how to confront her about it. Should I just forget it? This won't stop gnawing at me. Please help.
Hell no. The fuck? Forget about it. Sure, dude. Sure.
That would have been the first thing out my mouth.
No.
After I took a selfie with me and Justine, and then my girlfriend comes in the door like, this Justine? Is it, you got another friend named
Justine? Then he'd have to disclose why they were together. But
do you really want to get married after this? I don't know.
So I don't understand. Why are people so passive? Maybe I'm just like a direct asshole, but like I would have known that fucking second, because I would have been like, Justine, text her ass and see where she is. Mm-hmm. I'm about to propose to this woman. You're helping me do it, and she's fucking lying to me.
Yeah.
Listen. Text her right now,
mm-hmm.
or I'm just not doing this.
Mm-hmm. And what does Justine actually know?
Does
she know where your girlfriend is at? Did she know she would attend a running? Like, this is crazy.
And I would have also asked a whole bunch more questions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, where are you shopping? Mm-hmm. Where are you guys at? Tell her I said hey.
Mm-hmm.
Because
let me ask her a question about something I'm looking at.
Yep. Well, because the lies will compound.
Yeah, and she won't be able to remember most of it.
No. And so if I thought somebody was lying to me like that, or I knew somebody was lying to me like that, I'm asking a whole bunch of questions.
Mm-hmm. And then, so I don't know if you've listened to other episodes, but I just get so I'm like, give us more detail. Like, did you actually finish picking out the jewelry with Justine, or was it so awkward? You and Justine was like, okay, well, let's pick this up another time. Like, did you finish? And if I were Justine, what would I have done? Would I be like, girl, you done fucked up? Like, what are you doing?
How do you wait hours for her to get home? First of all, that's so agonizing. And second of all, how do you sit there and like, what do you want to eat? Bitch, nothing. I want to fucking know why you lied to me.
I want to eat the truth. That's what I want to eat.
What'd you buy today?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd
for
you go? How's Justine doing?
Mm-hmm.
If it was even going to be that passive aggressive, I would have been like, hey, I saw Justine in town when you were supposedly out with her.
Yeah.
I was out shopping.
Yeah.
And I saw her.
I could not have let that.
If you didn't want to spoil your surprise as to the engagement and why you guys were beaten up, cool, fine. Make up a coincidental situation that puts Justine somewhere else with him, not her, and help me understand where you were.
So, what's your first thought of where she was, Jamie? What's Justine out here in these streets doing?
Well, no, Justine's a friend, right?
I mean, I'm sorry. What's the girlfriend out here doing?
The girlfriend... Okay. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she was getting her Botox.
I didn't want to tell you what she does to maintain her face.
Maybe she was lasering her armpit hair. You know, something hygiene-wise that, like, getting her asshole waxed. You know, like, people just don't want to talk about that stuff sometimes. Like, hey, I'm about to go... you know, have my, parts fixed up or whatever.
And it's so funny, like, in the beginning, the reason why she was even out of the house was to visit her sister and baby nephew. How come she just couldn't keep saying that?
Right. I'm still here.
God, we just need to be smarter. Like,
yeah.
If we're gonna lie, let's just be smarter. That hurts.
So the shopping thing, because if it was with anybody else... she wouldn't have had to have lied. Like, unless it's a friend that's a dude and he's been jealous before. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so she's just swapping names. Like, if she really went and shopped, you also gotta look for the clues. What the hell did you buy?
If she came up in here empty-handed, well, right. I mean, we do that. We go window shopping and come back with nothing, but
for a few, she was planning on a few hours.
Yeah.
Already. You didn't buy one thing? You didn't eat.
And why's your hair wet?
Yeah. Yeah.
You been in the shower?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. We don't know enough about her character beyond that she's spontaneous sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but to your point, she could have just been with her nephew.
Right.
For an additional couple of hours if she was lying. But she had to pick a dumb lie. If in fact we know she's lying because Justine was with him.
Yeah, I mean, what if you were Justine? What would you? And you just left this poor man, and now you're in the car on the way home. Like, fuck. Like, would you tell her anything? Obviously, she didn't, because she came home like, blah blah blah. Let's eat. Like,
no, she didn't.
Is there an obligation of Justine to be like, girl, what was you doing? Or is she giving it away? She's giving. I
would have called her ass the fucking second I got in the car. I'm not texting her and being like, I was with your potential soon-to-be fiance. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not spoiling it in case, it's all good. But also, I'm going to call her and be like, where are you? What you up to? So then you could be like, hey, I'm with my old friend Mark. We caught up for lunch, or whatever. He's, visiting this weekend in town, and I didn't want to make so-and-so uneasy because he doesn't know much about him, and we, whatever, and he's married with, whatever the case may be.
Right.
Like, if it was something that should have been innocent enough to disclose, but not, I still want to know. You put my name in your mouth.
Yeah. And now, so staying in that same vein, what obligation does Justine have with the Mark, with whatever her friend told her? Does she have an obligation to go back to the boyfriend and be like, so this is what she was doing? Or because I feel like now you're in the middle of this. Like, even just figuring out what the lie was from your friend, like, now you're in the middle.
No. And she's lucky as hell she got out of that house. Okay, so first of all, I got a problem with they met at the house.
To look through the catalogs. Yeah.
What year is this? Was this written in 1982? Or this fucking service merchandise? Montgomery Ward's type of bullshit?
Not Montgomery
Sorry,
Ward.
I'm aging myself. But they were good for jewelry.
They were. Okay, it's 2 years ago, 2020.
So, really? She needed to come to your house? That's the stupidest shit. and you got a Ring doorbell. Like, there are so many ways to get outed on that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You do what most people do, and you go on Pinterest and you screenshot fucking pictures back and forth. That's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a house visit scenario. You know, I've helped a guy friend design a ring, and we were looking for inspiration on other Googled rings because it was going to be a little bit different. But that's what you do. You just text back and forth.
Yeah. And so I guess to kind of finish this up, I really wish I knew what he and Justine did. Like, did you follow through with buying a ring?
Right.
Or did you just end it right then and there because the lie was so blatant and you're like, well, now I got some things to think about. Because if you bought that ring, you need to return it.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, I mean, I guess there's a teeny tiny chance that she was off doing something nice for him and was lying. There's a small chance that she was doing something that she purposely didn't want him to know. That was either for him or...
Let me look and make sure there's not an update. Un momento, por favor.
I wish I knew more about her character other than she was spontaneous.
I know.
You know.
Oh, there is an update.
Give it!
Give me. Okay, I decided to confront my girlfriend. I basically just said that I knew we'd been thinking about marriage and she probably knew a proposal was coming soon, so I invited Justine over to help me find her the perfect ring. And that so happened to be the day that she said she was going to see her, so what's the deal? She immediately started grinning like an idiot and prodding me about proposing and the ring. But then we got back onto the topic of where she was, and she confessed what she was really doing. No, she wasn't cheating, and no, she wasn't picking out a ring for me. So some people are dog people, and some people are cat people. Well, me, I'm a snake person. I grew up with snakes my whole life, but I never felt I was able to get one. That's what he said. Because my girlfriend has always been uneasy about living with a snake, which I completely respected. Also, the process of buying and raising a snake is very different than that of buying and raising a dog or cat. It's quite complicated. So you could imagine my surprise when my girlfriend showed me a picture of her holding the cutest Kenyan sand boa I've ever seen. What?
You can't make this shit up.
Needless to say, my girlfriend was going to surprise me with a snake. We're picking her up next week. I definitely didn't expect this and feel bad for ruining the surprise, but oh well, life is good. Sorry if this isn't the ending you guys wanted.
Hey, that's happier than I would have expected.
Oh my God.
I thought that was a small chance too, right? Like maybe she was doing something for him and lied as her cover.
You thought it was like negative 0.1%.
I know. I was like, hold on. I try to be somewhat fair instead of just, dogging on, the person in question, but like...
Oh my God.
That one threw me for a goddamn loop. A snake and a cute little baby snake.
Look here, if we believe her. Okay, we believe her.
But she already had a picture of it, time-stamped, holding it, I'm assuming.
She might know Photoshop.
No. She caught on to someone, was like, I'll be right back. Let me go Photoshop a goddamn baby snake in my hand.
All right, she just so happened to have it on the fly when he confronted her. You're right. God damn it.
Gotta pull out the old baby snake photo.
It works every time. I be getting all my boyfriends with this one.
My goodness. Wow, that's cute then.
Yes.
And marry her.
Marry her. She got you a boa.
I'm not even mad. She don't even like snakes.
Exactly.
And she's holding a baby snake.
She's the one.
Oh, man. All right. Sorry, girl. Sorry. We had some doubts.
We was about to send the Salem witches after you.
We didn't know. We didn't know you like that. And that's cute and super spontaneous. So, good job.
Y'all. Good for y'all.
Good job. Justine, though. Justine, I think you did what you had to do. You kept it quiet. But still. You were almost in hot water.
You were about to be in the middle of a battle, girl.
Uh-huh. Oh, wow. That was a good one.
A snake.
I didn't realize that the update was there. Whew.
A snake.
I've never met a snake person. You're a dog person? You're a cat person. I hate one or the other, but I never really just met like a snake person.
Right, who would actually want to own and quote unquote how do you raise a snake? Like,
well,
come on.
Even raising cats and dogs, I never had like thought of it that way. I'm like, they just get older with us, raising them.
It's
but
so true.
you are.
You're training them. You're like, yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, don't surprise me like that. No goddamn snake.
I'm sorry, but there's a lot of things I'll do for love. That ain't it. That ain't it.
But I won't do that.
R.I.P. Meatloaf.
So this one's titled, I told my boyfriend I'd move out if he kept the puppy, and I don't know how to feel. So this seems to be another story tied. Oh. And let me just preface this by saying Jamie is an animal lover, dog lover, she will shoot you to the moon if you do anything to, abuse a pet of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought her perspective on this story would be interesting. So let's get into it. It's a little bit long, so just hang in there. This is just a horrible situation all around, but it's totally broken me. A few months ago, my boyfriend got a puppy. He said he'd be the main caretaker for it, but would like me to help out sometimes, which I agreed to. Since getting the puppy, I've increasingly been taking care of her. She's torn up hundreds of dollars worth of things and sentimental items. Okay, puppies are going to chew. I'll just put up my stuff better and try my best to monitor her when I'm home. But I'm a full-time worker and a full-time student. I also have 4 pets that I take care of 100%. But my boyfriend just doesn't want to discipline. He doesn't use crate training at all. I mean, she'd pee on the bed for the longest time because he just want her to sleep on the bed. Now she'll just pee on the floor since she can jump off the bed. Also, she's not anywhere near being potty trained at almost 6 months old. It's as if she's still 8 weeks old. I try my best, but I'm literally not here enough to train her. I wasn't supposed to be her trainer. My boyfriend does clean the mess sometimes, but I clean it most of the time. She poops inside multiple times a day, almost every day. She plays super aggressively too. It doesn't hurt much now, but she is a mix of 2 large breeds. She harasses my cat, and if I discipline her, which means crate train, or crate her, or stop her by separating them, my boyfriend doesn't or stops me because, quote, the cat has claws to protect herself, and, quote, the cat instigates it. Fine, I even found a way for my cat to get peace. But last night, I get a call from my boyfriend. The puppy killed my fucking guinea pigs. She managed to get into my office area because the doors don't close well, so she could have just pushed it open and fucking killed them. I just lost a guinea pig to old age a few months ago. The poor little guys didn't even have a chance with her. I can't handle her anymore. Destroying my things is one thing. Cleaning her poop, the constant messes, whatever. But eating a hole in the mattress, fine. But my fucking guinea pigs are dead. I came home after my boyfriend cleaned the mess from them, and I still saw fur on the floor, and it just killed me inside. I said I'd move out if we didn't rehome her. He's not ready to dedicate the time to a puppy, and I don't have time to take care of a puppy, which I specified in the beginning when we got her, and it's just not fair to the dog. My boyfriend said I'd be cruel for making him choose between us, and he said if I moved out, we'd be done. He said that if I can't get over what happened, we'll never work. An hour after I found my guinea pigs dying. I feel like emotions are really heightened because of what just happened, and maybe I'm really jumping to extremes, but I feel like he's not taking my concerns seriously, especially after what just happened. I'm not trying to make him choose between us as an ultimatum. I just don't want to live with the puppy anymore, or at least until she's trained. But he's the one wanting to end the relationship if I move out. I genuinely don't know what to do. What the best course of action is, if how I handled this was the best, I don't know. All I know is I'm blaming myself for 2 dead pets, and I'm trying my best not to blame him or the puppy because that's not right. The end.
Can we take a moment of silence for the 2 little guineas?
Yeah.
Man, that's rough business. That puppy deserves more.
Yeah.
He's ill-equipped. He's also not sounding like he's interested in giving the puppy the structure that she needs.
Exactly.
She's going to hurt people
as she gets bigger.
soon.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's intentional or not, they nip at your wrists, your ankles, and you have to reinforce, positive. You have to learn how to teach them to exist.
What to do, yes, what to do and what not to do. Because that's part of caring too. Like I think people
that's raising.
That is raising. People kind of put, taking care of a dog and disciplining / training in two separate buckets. It's all for the betterment of the dog.
Yeah.
Like dogs love structure. They want you, tell me what to do.
Yep. Let me know when I can piss and I can count on being able to piss. Let me know when we're eating. Let me know,
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I do think the dog deserves
another
better.
home?
No, I think the dog deserves structure. The dog deserves to learn how to socialize,
mm-hmm.
how to interact.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that dog's also going to kill the cat, too.
Yeah.
And it's not the cat antagonizing, it's...
Right.
It's as that dog's prey drive gets
it.
higher, if it has one,
mm-hmm.
and a lot of those larger breeds do,
mm-hmm.
the cat's in danger, too.
Yeah.
And people are going to be in danger if the nipping doesn't stop because they just don't know their strength.
Right.
And so I think, okay, let's back up for a second. He's not taking her seriously.
At all.
At all. I heard no remorse for the dead animals.
At all.
And, all right, what else is going on here? No remorse.
If you can't get over it, then we'll never work. So, like, threatening to break up if she moves out because of this.
Yeah.
This is traumatizing.
That's a very manipulative power move.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like girlfriend's got it going on. She's busy.
Mm-hmm.
She's working. She's going to school.
Mm-hmm.
And this motherfucker is just doing whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what he does.
Whatever it is, it's not training a dog.
Whatever it is, it's not training the dog.
And making her feel like shit.
Mm-hmm.
And making her think it's her problem.
Right. Why do we think this is okay?
Yeah.
Like, you wanted the dog. Like, I don't see you outside, taking it. Like, why is it all falling on me?
Yeah. Your dog literally killed my animals.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not telling you need to get rid of the puppy because I don't like the puppy.
Right.
I wish the puppy had not murdered my animals. Right. For sure. I wish I could change that.
Yeah.
But the puppy also needs some structure, needs more than what you're giving, and fundamentally, you're not doing the things that every expert would say to do.
Or that we agreed to when we got this dog. Like,
exactly.
There was an agreement. Like, like you said, I got it going on. I got shit happening. And 4 of my own pets that I take care of, that you don't take care of.
Yep.
Where is the compromise? Like, it seems like this might just be one more issue.
Right.
Like, I don't think this is a Sterling Silver relationship right here. Like,
no.
The introduction of the animal, it probably brought to light some extra shit.
Well, and think about it. Relationships get more complex, if they want to get married.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
babies.
we don't know how old they are. We don't know.
Yeah. No.
What their
they're early 20s.
Yeah, so, we don't know what their
babies.
life stage is. And at that age, I mean, I was, more, what's the word? More selfish, more wrapped up in my own, small bubble, things I had going on.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to care for other things in my early 20s.
Yeah.
But
a plant would be lucky to survive around me.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just like, it's a no-win scenario because if he's your boyfriend and you're serious about him and he's serious about you, well, are you going to get married and have kids? Because look at this little, in the grand scheme, this is not a crazy of an issue. The dog is safe and loved.
And the problem is clear. The problem is clearly defined and you know how to solve the problem. And you're like, get over it.
Yep. Get over it or bye. It's just, it's a weird power play in my mind. The second people go straight to breakup talk, I always think, well, they were probably trying to look for an out anyways, and this is the catalyst.
Yeah.
You probably are always agreeable. You're always just going with the flow and making shit happen because you're busy. And this is the first time you're putting your foot down on something and throwing it at you.
Yeah, he can't handle that.
Yeah.
And so part of me also, you know, their age included, when you get pets, like the thought and the fantasy of pets is like really cool. Like, oh, you
Right.
know, I love dogs. You know, my friend has a dog, but the difference is you leave that friend's house
Yep.
and then you go home and you do your own thing.
Same with kids.
Exactly. I'm your aunts and uncles and
Yep.
grandma. They love
Yep.
that because you can send them kids back home.
Yep, and they're not getting you up at 5 in the morning. Pets included, right?
When you get a pet, the initial like first 2-3 days, you're like, oh shit, like what did I do?
What did I do?
So overwhelming.
They need everything, and you're afraid you're gonna hurt them on accident, or you know, like
am I feeding them enough? Are they getting water? Am I
jumping off the bed?
Exactly.
And, you know, yeah.
Like I feel like maybe he's a little overwhelmed, and so instead of pitching in to help, he kind of like it's shock, like he's hands off.
Yep.
And I can't understand.
He doesn't want to be a bad guy. You know, he wants to be. It's like a parent wanting to be their kid's friend, right? Like, but no, you have to provide the structure, the safety. I mean, he can't take her on walks. Not that he would, but he can't even take her on walks without, you know, she's probably going to lunge. I've had a bunch of rescues in my life that, you know, they'll lunge at people. And not because they're violent. It's because their behavior was never checked in any sort of way.
Yeah.
They were never given any consistent training or anything. And so they get excited and they want to jump at
my
people.
impulse is to
not to bite, you know,
to check you out.
They're so excited they want to, you know, jump on you. And so he's not doing the dog any favors. Do I think that dogs are in worse scenarios? Yeah. You know, he loves the dog clearly, but he could be doing so much more for the dog. And she's at her end. She's like, dude, I'm going to school. I'm working full time. I got 50% of my animals still alive, and I'm not even. I know. I'm not even
ripping your head off right now. Like, there's so much. Like, so what would you do? Is this a deal breaker for you as the girl?
Yeah. I mean,
his behavior towards, from the time you got the puppy till this traumatic experience right now.
Yeah. There's a couple questions I would have. Did they talk about it up front, or did he call her like at a pet shop, right? Like,
right.
Because I could see it being an issue if he was just like, hey, I got this dog.
But, I mean, the way his behavior is, it seems like he'd be the one to spring something.
Right,
you,
right. And that happens sometimes. And so then you agree to helping because what are you going to do? You know, you'd seem like the crazy woman if a pet, you know, you have 4 animals
and I can't have one,
and your boyfriend comes home with a dog, and then all of a sudden you're like, nope, right. that would seem crazy. So of course you have to be semi-agreeable to the situation, but dogs are, I mean, guinea pigs and cats, I don't know what the 4th animal is, but a cat and 2 guinea pigs, those are low maintenance. They don't require
exactly,
a ton,
which
right?
is why she says she takes care of them 100%.
Right, but dogs require so much more.
Yes,
especially when you get them at that puppy age. So part of me would be interested in learning what was the beginning of that, and then, you know, or how did that transpire in the beginning, and then the way that she would communicate to him what needs to be done, because I don't know if it's just a communication thing, but nobody wants to feel like they're doing something wrong.
Right.
Or they're not good enough or whatever. So depending on how that communication happens, you know, someone might get defensive.
Right. So
because if you come at me like this and this and this and this, I'm not going to be as open.
Right.
You know?
And if someone's coming at you, you haven't done this because they're frustrated because they keep having to clean up the messes. Like to your point, say the dog poops in the house. What's the immediate communication between the two of you?
Right. Right. What's that dynamic?
The hole in the mattress. That took some time.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the communication at that moment? The dog chewed on the mat. Like, what are you talking about after each of these incidents happens? And what's the expectation being set?
Right.
Okay, I'll clean it up this time, but it's your dog. Like, what are the expectations you guys set? There seems to be none.
Well, and also the sanitary sort of hygiene issue of it. Like, she says in there somewhere about...
He's on the bed.
But also that, like, he cleans it up sometimes. Does that mean he leaves it? Because some people would do that. Yeah, some people would do that. And then the other person who's the more, you know, responsible or, you know, worried about the hygiene factor and, you know, all that stuff is the one who's going to clean it because it bugs them and the urgency's there for them to clean it. So, I don't know. There's huge red flags to me as it relates to the response, the automatic response to the pet the pet's dying. It seems like there wasn't any remorse by the way it's written.
Just cleaned up and didn't even get all the fur up, so I can't. Like she was able to still see the rim. Like, God, that's awful.
Yeah, yeah. And then to top it all off, you're gonna break up with me
if I leave this piss hole.
Your puppy who deserves the world killed my guinea pigs. I can logically work myself through that, right? I can.
You can?
I can.
Oh, just because they
probably thought they puppy were toys. Behavior. Yes, a puppy behavior. Yes, I can. Yes. I can work myself through why, how.
No blame to the animal.
No blame to any of the animal. Yes. Yeah, no blame to the animal. But I cannot work through how you don't give a fuck about it and you're going to break up with me.
Yeah. For
me saying this dog deserves somebody who's going to give it the attention and training it needs.
Yeah,
or commit to getting it trained, right? Say, right. I will call a trainer. I commit to.
That's the first thing.
Yeah, commit. Like, hey, we killed you. We killed 50% of your animal population in this house. Here's what we're gonna do to make it better. Try to redeem ourselves. Not, I'm gonna break up with you
if you leave,
and I'm not changing.
Yeah,
fuck him. Fuck him.
No, fuck him for real, girl.
I know. Like, take the dog with you, though. To me, that dog's hers anyway.
Because... You know what I mean? Like, and so we didn't even talk about, like, so that's just general care of a dog, taking them out, feeding them, blah, blah. Who's playing with the animal and giving them constructive,
no one.
Like,
so he went and tried to play with some gerbils and killed them. He was just trying to play.
He just wanted some attention.
You know?
And those guinea pigs looked his way. Like,
they were like, hey, look what I can do. But also, somebody this irresponsible, what happens when the pet's sick?
Who's going
to notice that? Who's going to pay attention to it? Because, people like this who might not be as mature in their life stage and might not seek out the opinion of experts and how to do things yet, or ask, Dr. fucking Google what to do. Like, they also might not know you can't give dogs chocolate or avocados or grapes or onions or seasonings.
And, I know.
You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many ways you can get tripped up if you aren't careful.
Like, what research did you do before you saw this dog, my guy? You just on was this an impulse buy? Like,
that's my.
You can't just buy an animal and then just let him hang out. Like, you have to be involved.
You can, but it's a rescue that also would have some other type of quirk. A puppy's gonna have a quirk. A rescue's gonna have a quirk because they've seen some shit, generally speaking. And then now you gotta figure out their quirks. And like, I have a dog that's got a diaper on, right? Like 24/7, basically. And like, we had to figure out those quirks, and figure out the best solution for the dog because it had not been given a fair chance in 7 years on potty training. So. We had to figure out a solution.
And what is the
It took a lot of time. It took 2 years.
What's the balance of care when you're a couple and you have an animal? Whoever sees it. Oh, I saw pee.
I think it's whoever sees it. Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. I mean, you hear it going down, I mean, we have 2 cats and, I might hear a heaving in the middle of the night hairball situation, and believe me, I have pretended to sleep through that sometimes, and my husband is going to listen to this, and he's going to say,
with those hairballs?
I'm sure we both have to a certain extent, like,
but again.
But, it's partnership, it's give and take.
Yeah.
And I don't know. My thoughts are, if it was me with that gentleman and his dog is taking a shit in front of me, I shouldn't have to get up.
If we both sitting on this couch?
Yeah. Your dog is shitting right in front of both of us. Go catch it. Go catch it.
Go get your cleaning supplies.
And, go catch it like a mom does with her baby's puke. Go catch it. And handle your business. Walk the dog outside. Let him
There are signs before that stuff happens.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
So...
And I'm such a fan of crate training. Like, it's not punishment. Dogs, if you pay attention enough and you know much about dogs, they love to be in kind of enclosed, safe little caves that's their bed. That's where they go.
It's their safe space. It's their home. It's like a teenager's, room with the door closed.
Exactly.
They
so
just...
if you can't dedicate your eyes to that dog because you're, I don't know, playing Call of Duty or, I don't know, you're studying or cooking dinner, put them in their crate. It's not a punishment. It's not a cage. It's not a bad place.
Or baby gate them off somewhere.
Or baby
right?
gate them off. They should not. What I learned my third time around with the puppy was they shouldn't just have all access to your house until they can fully be trusted.
Right.
Period. There's no reason for an 8-week, 10-week-old puppy to be running around through your kitchen and your living room and everything, and you can't see what they're doing. They need to be crated off or gated off where you can see them if you need to watch them, or they need to be in their bed. Like, period.
Like you baby proof, you puppy proof.
Your baby or toddler's in a pack and play, aren't they? They're in a
yeah.
When you can't have eyes on them in that moment, they're safely somewhere else. That's the same thing with a dog. Like, people like get this in their mind where they're like, it's punishment, it's like putting them in a cage. It's not. Stop.
It's not. Nope.
Stop.
Nope. Yep.
So break up with him. Bye
bye.
Because I'm sure there's some other shit in that relationship that's
you don't have time. You don't even have time to see. I don't even know if you remember back 2000. It was 2008, so it was probably before we met. I dated somebody for a long while, and I was paying the bills. I was going to get my own apartment. He, insisted we live together, and the bill split was, 70-30 because I made more, and he was real mad about it. Yeah. What else?
Did you have pets?
I was no pets at that time, thankfully, but I was working. I was paying the bills. I was also full-time getting my master's.
For the love of everything.
I didn't have time. And do you know what I found out years later?
What?
He, before we moved in, was cheating on me. And when we moved in, he was cheating on me. And guess what? I never stopped to even investigate. Part of me thought maybe he was. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I'm too fucking busy. I'm doing my shit. I am working full-time. After I got my, bachelor's degree, I'm making good money now for my age. Mm-hmm. I'm getting my master's degree. I got my shit going on, and I am laser focused. I don't got time for this fucking bullshit, And he was working at Jewel in the produce, whatever, and that's fine. That's fine. Going to school part time, cool.
What was?
But I'm doing me. The straw. What was the straw? I was outgrown. I was on the up and up, and
he was
he was just yeah,
just dead weight.
Yeah, and so I was just like, I don't even need anybody. So I was just like, you gotta go. And so then I moved to the city 30 days later, because I was that woman that was sitting in the Kohl's parking lot on a Saturday before they even opened in the suburbs. And I looked around, and it was a bunch of middle-aged and older people waiting for the store to open. And I'm like, I'm one of these ladies right now.
You were what, 25?
With my goddamn Kohl's cash and shit. Yeah. And I was
I can't do that.
I had this thing where I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? Mm-hmm. And that's not a knock to the suburbs. Right. It was where I was in my life. I'm like, I'm in the wrong. I should not be in a Kohl's parking lot at 8 a.m. I should be hung over in the city somewhere or something. And so my sister and her boyfriend were both graduating from college, looking for a place to live together. I talked them into subletting or reletting my place. Mm-hmm. And boom, I was in the city.
That's amazing.
And that's when I met Karen. Mm-hmm. And then met you. So anyway, that was my long tangent.
Very few people, I think, get those light bulbs where they almost, if you've ever watched That's So Raven, the kind of flash, oh shit, I need to be doing something else. Yep. Because you're so involved in your day to day, and you just kind of let those gut feelings pass over you because you're focused on you.
I was tired.
You were in the Kohl's parking lot, what?
Yeah. But even before that, when I did have a couple of those gut feelings, but he lived 35 minutes from me before we moved in together, and one time he would always blame things on one friend, when he didn't call me at night, and I would always be like, I want to make sure you got home safe, because he did a lot of driving under the influence, and so I would just be like, you gotta call me, I want to make sure you're home. Well, one time called me real quiet, just got home, okay, hung up the phone. My phone rings again 5 minutes later, a butt dial. He's in a bar somewhere.
Shut the fuck up. No.
And I got real mad. I was pissed. I was like,
those Nokias will get you every time.
2008. What? Yeah. And so I was so pissed off. I was like fuming. And I'm like,
no, you were.
I'm like, I'm going to get in my goddamn car. Where's my keys? And I'm going to sit outside his house and I'm going to wait till his ass rolls up at 5 a.m. and I'm be like, caught you, bitch. And then I went like this. I'm too fucking tired for that.
Yeah, no.
He ain't worth my 35-minute drive one way to do what? For me to just be like.
To point out something.
Yeah.
Already...
So then, keep in mind, I kept it moving, but I still let a stupid ass move in with me. So, even the smartest.
I know.
Obviously, you know, like.
The smart be dumb. We be dumb sometimes.
Yeah. And I'm also not the smartest, but at the time I thought I was. You know, it's just, it's humbling.
Yeah, that's
it's humbling.
Yeah.
And then, you want to know the funny story to that? Mm. So then years and years and years later, when I'm on my online dating, I met somebody and we were in a bar and we were like on our first date and we were like oddly familiar to one another, but we didn't couldn't piece it together. Well, the second date, it was his friend. He's like, "You're Jamie."
Not Jamie.
I'm like, "You're so-and-so."
My reputation precedes me.
No. We had hung out many times. I had been to this person's house. We were just not connecting the dots through this person.
So how long did that last?
He was too emotional. Like, way emotional. Mm-hmm. So not very long, but I had some revenge activities.
Sure.
You know, like, send that back. Send that back.
Report back to your general that this is what's happening. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That sounds good to me.
I had to get a little bit of revenge.
Karma will come around and you don't know who's sending it your way.
Exactly. So that's a funny story.
Well, thank you for adding but girl, break up with him.
Yeah.
Is the point of that diatribe.
That whole thing is you got it going on.
Exactly.
Do you.
Yes.
You know, you're gonna miss that puppy, but the puppy deserves a whole lot, and if he's not giving it, you shouldn't have to deal with it.
Yeah. Totally. And then the manipulation. Let's not. Okay. Yeah. Moving on.
Dump his ass.
Next story. This one's gonna fire you right up. My boyfriend spiked my drink the other night. We're living at the end of times. Okay? This is the end of time. Because I don't know why y'all be writing in telling us these stories when you just need to be getting away from people, but I digress. So she says, I'm fully aware that I might be overreacting a little, but some outside opinions would help ease my mind. So my boyfriend, who's 22, and I have been together for about 2 years now and currently share an apartment in our college town. I don't drink. I don't have a reason or anything. I just never acquired a taste for alcohol. I'll take a sip of my boyfriend or my friend's drink just to try it every now and again, but I usually don't like it. I go to bars with friends and hang out with them all the time, and I usually just have a soda or water and offer to drive if need be. My boyfriend was a little stressed the other day since he had to work during Black Friday, so he was tired when he came home. We were watching something on Netflix when he gets up and says he's going to make himself a drink. I offered to do it for him, but he said, no, don't worry about it. I'll bring you a water. So he comes back with his drink and a flavored water for me. And when I sipped it, something tasted off about it. I only took a few more sips of it before I just put it on the coffee table and ignored it. He asked me why I wasn't drinking it, which was kind of a strange question to me. I told him it tasted a little off and maybe I bought a bad case or something. He immediately seems to get frustrated and tells me to just drink it so it doesn't go to waste. Push came to shove, and turns out he put vodka in my water. When I asked him why he would do that without telling me, he said that it was a fantasy of his to have a drunken sex with me, and it was getting ridiculous that I wouldn't get drunk so we could do that. He has never communicated this to me before. I had no idea. I dumped my drink out into the sink, and then he was angry at me for wasting alcohol. Now I'm scared. He put something in my drink without my knowledge, and I'm not sure what to do now. The end.
Run as fast as you can. That, to me, is such a violation. And believe me, I love my alcohol. But,
okay.
If you don't want to drink,
right.
You know, if you have alcohol at your home and you know your partner is going to make himself a drink, you can easily say, I'll have one too, or I'll join you and make one if you want one. But the fact that you had no intentions of drinking and somebody that you care for and are in a relationship for 2 years put alcohol in your drink, that's such a violation of trust.
Yeah. Human decency.
Yeah. Ethics.
We haven't even talked about
morals.
his crazy ass fantasy.
Yeah. That's some bullshit.
What the hell is that?
Yeah.
You think that's bullshit?
No, like...
Or is he actually crazy enough to be like, I want to have drunken sex with you and you won't?
I think that he made some shit up. But at the same time, okay, what does that show? You above everything else.
Mm-hmm. Damn what I want.
What if she had to get in the car and go somewhere? What if, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's beyond disrespectful.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it is. It's maddening.
And like, how do you think that she wouldn't notice that her drink tastes differently?
Right. She's tasted sips. It's not like she hasn't had things before.
Mm-hmm.
She's just not, a big social drinker or anything like that. And that's absolutely okay.
It's okay.
But...
And for you to think that you could force somebody to drink against their will for a fantasy that you have about sexing them up while they're incapacitated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's giving raper predator vibes.
Yep. Very, very much so.
And you live with this person.
It's malice.
Mm-hmm.
There's malice behind this, in my opinion.
Is it assault?
I don't know. I was wondering if there could be like some sort of criminal... Obviously, they're in the safety of the home. They're not... it's a legal thing to have it, but it's still... It's spiking a drink.
Mm-hmm. Whether it's a roofie or not, like if you're trying, I guess your intentions are
to alter that person's current state.
Mm-hmm. So
and you thought a couple sips of vodka are gonna do it? Are gonna get your girlfriend sloppy drunk so that you could take her barely lifeless? I mean, like,
God, it's just so it's so disgustingly and she said in here like scared, like. And I don't know if you listened to like a previous episode, but another story like this, but it wasn't with vodka. It was they had gotten into an argument before a road trip, and so he spiked her Gatorade with Benadryl, and she slept the whole ride.
Ooh,
I don't have the time for these motherfuckers. Like, why do you think that's okay?
Right.
And then, like, not to go back to the other episode, but like it was just so maddening because she kept waking up throughout the ride and was like, oh, God, I'm tired. And he like handed her some more Gatorade. She take another sip and she passed back out. They get to wherever they were going and he makes an offhanded joke like, I should drug you more often. It was a peaceful ride. He couldn't even keep it to himself, Jamie. Like he couldn't even just, he had to let her know. Yep, I did that. That's why you was asleep. What the fuck is up with
You drugged her. I don't give a shit if it's over the counter or not. You drugged her. I
don't care if it was Claritin.
Right.
You drugged your girlfriend so that she would shut up.
No one should ever be allowed to alter the state of mind.
Absolutely.
Think about all the different things that are affected, like your motor skills, like everything is affected.
Yeah.
Your organs, your body is not, alcohol is not good on the body. And some people refrain from it for that. Me, I completely disregard it most days. But, like it's just one of those things, though, that you have no right. Absolutely no right to touch or alter anything that someone's going to consume without their knowledge.
No.
End of story.
So
not only does she need to break up with him and go find herself a real mature person, this person needs to be on some sort of watch list because that shit is messed up. That screams predator. To your point, that screams wannabe raper. Oh yeah, I'd like you to be semi incoherent so I could fuck you.
It's been a fantasy of mine.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. You want to find some sloppy ass girl?
And then like he's 22, like it's these youngins, like who like the college life.
It's that fraternity
it's
sort
disgusting.
of, like looking for the one that's the most wobbly, like fuck that. That is scary.
I feel like a woman has never been in more danger than it is when she's in college because college life for some reason alters their people's brains.
Yep.
And that's where you're introduced to nefarious, I feel like, even sometimes in high school.
Yeah. But think about it. Also, let's be real. If he wanted to do it here.
She's not the first one.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. She just happens not to drink, and it was a little bit more clear cut for our story, purposes. But what if it was someone that he, met at a party or was in a relationship that also liked to have drinks,
Yep.
I don't know. Because to me, the even the wanting her to be more loosened up or whatever the case may be to have sex, to me, that could be a ruse. But I don't know.
It was getting ridiculous that I wouldn't get drunk so we can.
He said
it was, and then when she dumped it out in the sink, he was mad because she wasted alcohol. No, you wasted your alcohol.
Yeah.
Like, how much did you put in it? Ugh.
Yeah.
I just can't believe it.
Nope. And she clearly called him out on it, so good for her.
Right there.
Right. This is how it should be. Good for her for doing that. And also, if he wanted a fucking drink, he would have taken it from you. Mm-hmm. And he would have been like, all right, I'm so sorry. Mm-hmm. That was disrespectful. You want me to finish it?
No, he was indignant.
No. He just wanted to make it her fault.
Mm-hmm. And so
he's the victim here. That's what he's doing.
Of course. I don't know. I don't know the textbook definition of a narcissist. And I know it's a trendy word nowadays, mm-hmm. like in the past, like, I don't know, 2-3 years, but feels like that's what he is.
Yep. Everything's inward.
The gaslighting, the manipulating, mm-hmm. like, you know, you're mad at something and you really shouldn't be mad about that. Like, you know?
Yeah.
And so I feel like she doesn't have a communication issue like most of the stories, right? She's already said, what the fuck?
Yep.
But now what to do? Leave.
Yeah.
As safely as you can.
Yep.
You live together. I know that's fucking hard.
I know.
I hate that. Like when we make these decisions and we put our names on leases and shit with people, and it's hard to unwind those webs, girl.
But if this is the first thing, there's going to be more. This is a bad first thing, you know? I just think that it's in her best interests mm-hmm. to find a partner that doesn't consider it a flaw that she doesn't drink.
Yeah. And doesn't consider it a flaw that she doesn't drink to incompatibility, is that a word?
Yes.
So that he could manipulate her body without her. But like, fuck.
Fuck you and the horse you rode in on.
Dateline.
Exactly.
Next story. This one is titled, My Boyfriend, who's 41, refuses to do any housework and help me out. Every time I bring it up, he asks why I don't help him at his job. What can I do? So this is a short one. She says, my boyfriend works as a landscaper, long hours in general. Sometimes he comes home early, but other days he has packed schedule and has to leave super early in the morning and doesn't get home till late. I work in an office and mostly just do paperwork all day. My schedule isn't very grueling. My hours got cut a few weeks back and now I'm part-time. I take on the brunt of the housework. It's the main thing I do as soon as I get home. My boyfriend, though, he just comes in and sits on the couch and naps. His justification is that I work in an air-conditioned office and sit in a comfy chair all day, and that he's out in the sun doing manual labor. Since he works harder and makes more money than I should have to do the housework. He complains his knees hurt after all of the work he does all day, and that if I worked as hard as he did, I'd be tired too. As soon as I got home from work, I had to get everything ready for the kids' school the next day, and I just asked him to mop the kitchen. He said he was tired from working all day. I kept pushing him on it to just do this one thing and that he should do his part and that he never helps out. He got mad. He shouted, well, goddamn, when's the last time you came out and helped me mow lawns or carry 50-pound bags of fertilizer? I do my job and you do yours. I didn't know what to say after that. Is he right? He said he'll help out with the housework if I do the work he does to see how it is. Should I do it? The end.
I hope she's not being serious. If she's being serious, then she's already in trouble. Her question's already
It's the wrong question.
It's the wrong question, for sure. So, the thing is, physical labor is hard. Mm-hmm. Physical labor in the elements, woo! Mm-hmm. That is tiresome. Mm-hmm. But I heard the word kids.
Right.
I heard that he lives there.
I heard that too.
Yeah. So, I'm assuming he has his share of dishes and laundry and
I'm
everything.
Sure he's making messes. Yes.
I'm assuming he's eating there. Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming that he takes part in everything in the house, but he just wants zero responsibility for the management of the house. Mm-hmm. And he's tying his worth for his physical efforts and his paycheck to not having to do anything else, which is bullshit. Because what happens when those knees give out? Who's gonna watch you? Who's gonna, you know? Yes, her hours are cut right now, but time is time. We all have 24 hours in a day.
Right.
That's it. And the second people start thinking their time is worth more than another, like for practical reasons, yes, you have to, like, my husband makes more than me, you know, and so, yes, his job, we do have to protect a little bit, especially COVID times and the kids are home and being crazy and stuff. Yes, we protect that a little, you know, a little bit more. But at the same time, we both only have 24 hours in a day. Exactly. We both eat. We both, you know, need groceries. We both
use the bathroom.
We both do everything. And so to just completely remove yourself from anything household and potentially kid related.
Sounds like it.
It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. I'm not saying he doesn't have the right to be tired. I'm not saying that he doesn't have a right to take a nap on the couch, because that's a hard job.
Yeah, I've actually had this conversation with a boyfriend before.
Really?
Who used to drive trucks and was in a position where he had to get out of the truck and help with the loads.
Right.
And I was a receptionist at a time.
Yep.
You know, making, you know, $20,000 or $25,000. And so when it came to housework, you know, we lived in an apartment, our first apartment together. And he just was not interested in doing nothing because he worked harder than I did.
Right.
Granted, we worked the same hours, but I got to sit in an office.
Yep.
And literally, almost, like, I could have wrote the story.
Yeah, yeah.
And we fought so much about that. And there was no pulling. There was no pushing. There was no compromise. He had like these gender norm roles in his mind, which maybe this person does too, because even the mention of I do my job and you do yours. Like, what?
Right. Your job
which exactly is my job?
Manage the house and tend to the children. Yeah. You know.
And so that's such a toxic way to think. And I mean,
in this society these days, for sure, because there are so many women who are out earning men, and sometimes
outperforming.
Yes, and outperforming, and sometimes even if not, sometimes you just gotta own up and do your own stuff, you know, like take care of your own laundry or take care of something for yourself. Like it's not okay to just assume because you work hard you do zero other things.
And the goal or the intention of telling your girlfriend that, you know, why don't you try doing my job? Like, why don't you try mowing lawns? Like, what is the intent behind that? Like, you can choose your own job. She chose a good job in an air-conditioned office.
Yeah.
You chose to do manual labor. We all had choices. So why is it her fault?
It's demeaning. And could you even do my fucking job?
Exactly.
Probably not.
Because I also, if I offend anybody, I really don't care. Manual labor most of the time is that. It's physical. It's not brain work.
Right. Right.
I consider my office work, interacting with people, technology that I'm using to be brain work.
Yep.
So there is a difference.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's taxing in just a different way.
In a different way.
So you come home from a physical labor job, especially in the elements, your body is exhausted. Sometimes your mind's not. Right? Like, you can stay up and watch TV. You just need your body to rest.
Yeah. You just want to sit and do nothing.
Yep.
And decompress. Yeah.
And then when you're in an office job and it's fucking fake smiles all day and it's, you know, all these technology things and you're doing 3 things at once and everybody needs you for something
and dealing
or whatever.
with people. Yeah.
Yes. And different personalities depending on your role, you know, like, it's one of those things where you get home and you're emotionally exhausted. You don't want to talk. You don't want to. Yeah. Whatever, but guess what? Now you got to take care of some kids.
Exactly.
Now you got to worry about, like, the invisible work we talked about earlier.
Yep.
That's it. That's the planning ahead. Oh, Monday's library day. Got to have the books in the backpack. Got to have lunches. Got to have. Oh, we need to pull so and so out of school early for the dentist appointment next week. I got to remember to let the teacher know.
What are we all eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
We're running low on XYZ. Got to get that
inventory.
Literally, it's a nonstop list for the person who takes the lion's share of the household management.
Yes.
And the more mouths you have to feed, the more complicated it gets.
Exactly.
And so it's absurd to think that all you do is your landscaping job.
Yeah.
And everything else is up to the other person who also works.
Right.
So I get with the scale back.
It's not a partnership to me.
No, it's not at all. It's a very
dictatorship.
Yeah. It's an old school kind of chauvinistic.
Yeah.
it's the patriarchy that we remember of the 50s, except now the woman's got the job.
Mm-hmm. And he's
and
coming
still
home
doing all of it
with sweat on his brow, and he's sitting down at the table, and he's like, what's for dinner? Like,
yeah, exactly.
And the thing that really got me is like later on in the story when she just wanted him to mop the kitchen.
Yeah.
I don't know how big the kitchens are, but even if you got a mansion, like mopping the kitchen, that one thing, you couldn't do that. I'm doing everything else. There's no compromising with you, so I'm doing everything. I just need this one thing.
One thing. Yep.
And he talking about mowing lawns and 50-pound fertilizer. Like, make it make sense.
Right. Oh, you do this all day. This mop's probably too heavy now. You're probably too tired.
Oh, your knees.
Exactly. Well, the thing is, okay, for a situation like this, I could even see my husband loves to defer on things that he doesn't think are priority for the moment, where I might think they're priority, like mopping a floor. He would be like, seriously? Well, it's fine. We'll do that later.
Yeah.
That's his typical response, because it's my priority, because I'm the one freaking out about the dirty floor. He's not. He might not see it through the same lens. He's a foot taller. He might not even see it at all. And so some of it might come from that. And she did say something, this little thing, but then she said something that set him off. If you notice it, something she said.
I kept pushing him on it to just do this one thing, and that he should do his part, and that he never helps out.
Hear that? So mad. she went one thing. That's what she meant. But then she blanket statement.
Say he never.
And say he never do, and which is probably all true, but
they don't want to hear that.
Those are fighting words.
What do you mean?
Those are fighting words. I make the money, I pay the bill. It brings out kind of that
ego.
Yeah, the chest pounding, here, I am man, hear me roar, and it set him off because he's tired and he's like, fuck, what, I work all day, what the fuck am I working for? To be, feeling like, I'm not helping in enough, I'm not being helpful or productive enough or whatever. So I could see how that could get somebody upset by going from this one little thing, but really saying, you always, you never, those generalizations.
Yeah, but if it's a constant conversation that or a point of contention that we're having every single day, like, I need help, but then you have the gall to get upset when I keep bringing it up, what's the...
Yeah. What would you say that she should do from here? Like, at work, when you're doing the job of 2-3 people and you're just stressed, right? We've all been put, especially in corporate jobs, your peer gets laid off or quits and they don't replace and they just use and abuse. Like, what's the advice we give in that regard?
I mean, you're beating a dead horse by continuing to say communicate, but I would just have to say, well, you live here too. Like, if we were only just going to our jobs and that's all we did 24/7 and didn't do anything else, fine. But I also have a job and I come home. I live here too. Like we were saying, I eat, I use the bathroom, the toilet needs cleaning, the shower needs cleaning, you live here, so you need to help out. Yep.
So what it reminds me of is in like the corporate office kind of parallel scenarios when someone is when too much is required of you.
Something's not getting done the right way.
Something's not getting done the right way. Corners are cut. But what I would tell somebody in a work scenario, since this is her job, right? It's her responsibility. Things have to start falling through the cracks for change to happen.
Where's dinner? I don't know.
Damn. Oh, you don't have clean drawers? That sucks. Use some crusty ones from the last 90-degree landscape today. Just bring them out. Yeah.
I didn't get to it. Sorry.
I mean, things got to start falling through the cracks, and if you gotta prioritize them,
that's the thing. Yeah,
that's where you're gonna balance the scales a little bit, because you want some clean underwear, you want some clean socks, you want a meal. Okay, you're getting a TV dinner, and because I don't have the fucking time.
What's your priority when you get into this house? Just napping and catching a reality show or something? You're gonna feel what it's like to not have everything done like it usually is.
Right, because I'm strapped for time too. So if I'm the lead, if I'm the default parent, if I'm the default home manager, all while working, even with cutback hours, like, I still can't do everything with quality. I can't think about every child's in our household's needs and plan for them accordingly, and still work and do my best at work and be a sane individual.
Right.
There's no me time. There's no time for friends. There's no time for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so things just have to start falling through the cracks.
And this is just housework. Like, what's happening with, I don't know, who's going grocery shopping, who's fixing the car, who's doing all these extra things on top of housework. Is it all on you because he just can't bear?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It sounds like it is. And you know, a lot of relationship dynamics are that way, and some people are okay with it, and fine. You know, when I stayed home with the kids, I tried to do a ton because I had tied so much of my individual worth to my professional life.
Yeah.
And so then when I wasn't working, I felt terrible.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I used to be financially independent. You know, I had debt, but I had, you know, I had a paycheck coming in, and
and it was mine.
And it was mine, and I could choose what to do with it. And even though we were married, I didn't feel like I could spend money. Believe me, that's changed. Sorry,
Good.
Sorry, husband.
Good.
But you know what I mean? Like, I had financial responsibility. I was super independent. People needed me nonstop at work. I had a line out my door.
Yeah.
You know, when I was in corporate, and it was just, I had that feeling of someone needing me. And it was just an amazing feeling. Now I had someone who needed me. They were a teeny tiny little human. But it didn't hit the same.
It did.
You know,
don't
obviously
get that same high.
No, I still obviously loved it, but I did the same things that validated me personally were professional, and so I felt less significant in my contributions because there was nothing financial coming through. So I tried to do all the things, and of course, as we were talking about animal lover, we had 3 dogs, one diabetic with a lung disease. You know, we're giving a dog an inhaler multiple times a day throughout the night. Narcotics, insulin. I mean, you name it. So then adding a baby, then adding another baby. So like, eventually I just couldn't do it all.
Yeah.
And so a lot had to transpire, but we started making incremental changes.
Yeah.
Because it's a partnership. And my husband, we've come so far. My husband drives my son to school in the morning. I pick him up. Like, before I was doing everything. I would drive to school, to all the therapies. We were all these things, you know? And
that happened by way of conversation.
Yeah. Well, before I was trying to do it all.
Yeah.
And so some of it was on me, right? Because my husband didn't even know necessarily that I was struggling. And it wasn't until basically I was like at my end where I'm like, I can't. I don't feel like a real person. All I'm doing is bringing dogs to vets and kids to therapies, and like, I don't feel happy, you know? And with that came the conversations of, and it's evolved. It's evolved, and now it's so much more balanced. And then I started working again, so it's had to evolve even more. It's stressful. Yeah. Because life is stressful. Yeah. But at the same time, you have to have a partner.
And that's and I believe that's the whole point of even having a boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband to begin with, is to share the load, to share your life. To like, when you say, I want to share my life with you, it's literally everything. Yeah. And that means that we need to have a balance of, not power, but a balance of responsibility.
Yeah, the dynamic has to be where both people are in it.
Absolutely.
Because this gentleman is nothing.
She calls everybody gentlemen, but all of y'all are CADS. CADS. Every last one of them that we've talked about, okay?
This dude is nothing but a grown-ass baby. He wants to be fed. He wants to be wiped. He wants to be everything. He wants to be tended to. All because he's got a hard job. Yeah. You're not the only one with a fucking hard job, dude. There's lots of people who have hard jobs who still do some shit in their house.
Literally. And there are books, I'm so mad because I can't remember the name of it, and I don't want to look on my phone right now, but there's a woman that I follow on TikTok, and she's had this kind of same issue, like this balance of power. She stays home, her husband works, and there's this book that she bought that kind of helps parse out like the chores, and so you feel grounded in that you always know what you're responsible for. David is always going to do the dishes.
Did I tell you about this book?
No. What is it called?
Fair Play. It's on
my. It's called Fair Play.
It's with cards. It's on my arm right here.
With a little deck of cards, and you
talk
about it.
I was on my way home from Kentucky visiting my father, and I had went by myself because he just had his heart surgery, and with my dog, and I listened to half of it.
And she turned right around. She turned that car around.
It hit me like a ton of bricks, and I have been meaning to say something to David because at that time I was feeling overwhelmed. I was feeling stressed where I was
Mhm.
doing more than I felt what I was able to to maintain
Effectively,
a positive
Yes.
mental health status and,
Mhm.
and feel like I was having some time for myself and,
Mhm.
and everything. Because, obviously being a parent, especially if you're the default, it feels like 2.5 jobs,
Yeah.
right? Because it doesn't stop. It's
Mhm.
24 hours, And so I was feeling stressed, and one of my friends had recommended it. And it just what's wonderful about this book, Fair Play,
It's
is that
changing lives.
it speaks well, first of all, game theory. It's cards.
Mhm.
Some 100 cards.
Gamification. Yep.
Yep. And so that's fascinating to me. But also, it speaks in a way that is not disrespectful
Mhm.
towards the partner who is not doing as much
Right.
for the house or kids.
Right.
It speaks to invisible work
Mhm.
because the person who's not doing it, it's not that they don't value it. Like
They don't see it.
my husband values all of the hard work that I put into coordinating and scheduling and
Mhm.
schlepping kids and animals and
Mhm.
carrying and waking up in the middle of the night, all those things. My husband cares about them and he is appreciative for it, but he doesn't see the mental load.
Yeah. Right.
And so this helps. It's a fully defined process, but one of the key things, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but you should still get this audiobook or book for all that,
Mhm.
is you both have 24 hours in a day. When you heard me say that earlier, that's what this is from. You cannot even do this book unless both people acknowledge that their time is equal.
Mhm.
So that's fucked up because this gentleman, right, his time is worth more than hers
Right.
in his eyes.
Right.
Because he works harder.
Yep. That
so
was the
that
first
means
takeaway.
he's absolved
Mhm.
of all other life
Mhm.
responsibilities because
is gone longer sometimes.
Yep. And so he has freed himself from any accountability or responsibilities in his house because his time is worth more.
Yeah.
Now, my husband and I would have that conversation about how since his earning power is much more and basically we have our life, our house, everything because of his earning power, that we have to protect his job, but at the same time, where we could even improve is saying our time is the same.
We both start out with the same.
Yep. And so I need to have free time. I need to pursue some interests. You need to have free time. You need to pursue some interests. How do we do this? Because both of our time is important. We can only do so much in a day.
Yeah.
So that book, Fair Play, is what really spoke to my friend recommended it to me and I listened to it. Yeah.
Good.
So it really does help make sense of it to someone who doesn't see the invisible work because it is exhausting. It is so taxing to keep a running list of what everybody needs always.
Yeah.
And then to execute on those needs.
Yeah.
Always thinking ahead.
And I think the key to this book that you mentioned earlier and that other people have mentioned, which is why it's like trend, like it's taking TikTok moms by storm. Okay?
Oh, good.
Is
I mean,
because
it's really good.
what you said, it doesn't make the other partner who's doing less feel bad about it. And that's how they're getting their spouses on board with this game.
Yeah,
or
because
this
everybody
book, period.
contributes.
Yeah.
Like everybody contributes. It's just making sense of it.
Yeah.
And the author, she was what's cool about her, she was an attorney.
Nice.
She was an attorney that became passionate about this and literally quit and went and did hundreds of interviews. Hundreds. I think she even got her PhD. She or someone very close to her got their PhD in said area because of the dynamics, the social structures, the gender norms, the different, chauvinistic or sexist or misogynistic, whatever ways that even we're taught.
Yes. Yep.
That even we think that we have to. Like me, I'm not financially contributing, so now I have to do 110% of everything.
Right.
But I already literally grew a human. And all that comes with it. My body's forever wrecked.
Yes. Yep.
Wrecked.
Yep. And
so, and then doing it twice.
Yep.
And, dealing with everything that comes with it. I mean, it's so taxing.
Yeah, and we even said earlier, like, men are kind of detached from that because unless you go through it, sometimes I don't feel like you need to actually go through something to know that someone's struggling or how hard something was. Like literally growing a baby, pushing it out, and then feeding it from your body, and then
Yep.
Come on. I feel like we need a little bit more. I think we need some more pedestals and tiaras around here, quite frankly. But that's another
the
show.
Tsunami of the hormones alone.
Okay,
I mean,
yes, you're not thinking clearly. You're trying to, and then, like you said, you drop the kid in the middle of your life that you're already. Well, what are we eating for dinner? Who's going to do that? Like you dropped another person in the middle of that, and it's like chaos.
Yep.
And then you've got this dude over here on the side, like, well, I went to work today.
Yeah,
I carried a 50-pound
why,
bag of
why are you so moody? Because I'm.
You want to have sexy time?
Yeah.
No.
Because I'm drowning. And I'm trying to make it look like I'm not, because on Instagram I see all these other moms who have 17 kids and they're all decked out all the time.
And they're 17 well, you only show on Instagram what you want people to see.
Right.
But it still fucks with your head. Like, there's some behind the scenes.
Right.
But the way it's proposed on...
Oh, yeah.
You like, see, I want that life. Yeah.
Moms with 3-month-olds and 2 other toddlers with
their Starbucks coffee, like,
yeah, Starbucks, hair extensions, fake eyelashes, like...
Their gray schemed household. Everything's gray and white and beautiful and
use
organized.
My code for your microbrow. Like,
yes.
Bitch, I didn't even shower for like a week at a time.
Exactly.
Eyebrows, eyelashes, like...
What witchcraft are you doing?
Right. So, like, part of me was, like, slightly jealous, too, because I'm like... But then I also felt slightly bad, because, like, are you so insecure that you need to do this?
This projection of how perfect... This projection of perfect. Yes.
Copyright that or something. But
that's the title. No.
Right? But you know what I mean? And, like... If your brand is your business, is your persona, like, fine, I get it to a certain extent, but at the same time, girl, get some sleep.
Get some sleep. You making the rest of us look bad out here.
Yeah, seriously.
We know you got 24 hours too. Okay,
I digress.
Listen, what was our advice? He's 41, by the way. Like,
read Fair Play. Listen to Fair Play.
Listen or read Fair Play, my girl, or anybody out there who's having this balance of power issue with this
is not a plug, by the way. We realize this right now.
There's no sponsorship right now. And
it's by Eve Rodsky, Rodsky is what the author's name is.
Yes, and I think the cards are optional, but or you don't get the cards if you buy the audiobook, but the cards are like the main kind of draw of
towards the end.
The
system.
Yes,
yeah, that's how it works through, is all of the, like, she took, these hundreds of hours of research and surveys and interviews and boiled all the things down to 100 different things. And then it's an exercise you and your husband go through. Mm-hmm. And you see how many cards in the beginning, each person has. And it's also just like a real good visual.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Next story. Okay. Story number 7. Is titled, Should I Tell My Best Friend, in quotes, that I'm going to start dating her ex-husband? Okay, so the author writes, I was best friends with Jenny since we were 18 in college. She married her now ex when she was 24, but left him 3 years ago to move in with her affair partner a few states away. They have 2 boys together. Her ex, who I'll call Ben, got full custody, and Jenny didn't really fight for it and was happy to just pay child support. She's only seen her boys less than 5 times since the divorce. I'm a full-time single mom with a son of my own. I'm a trust fund baby, so that's what supports us. Thanks for being honest. I'm the godmother to both of Jenny's boys, and we all live in the same neighborhood, and their home is just a 5-minute walk from mine. Ben works full-time and sometimes has to work late in the office, so I usually babysit the boys. I've been in their life since they were born, so they've always been comfortable around me. My son and his sons are really close too, since they grew up together and are pretty much brothers at this point. I had feelings for Ben for the longest time, but didn't act on it because I didn't want to ruin what we currently have. The divorce was hard on him too, and I didn't want to make things even more difficult. I don't do what I do for his family because I have feelings for him or anything. I genuinely love those 2 little boys. Last night, I dropped my son off at his house for a sleepover, and he insisted he walk me home. His mother was staying for a couple of weeks, so the boys had someone to watch them. We took the longer 15-minute route and ended up talking, and he told me that he's had feelings for me, but was too afraid to say anything too. Well, long story short, we kissed, and we're now going on a date next Friday. It was magic. Now my question is, should I tell Jenny? While the split hurt our friendship, I'm still in contact with her, and we talk about 2 times a month or so. She's told me that she still loves Ben and misses her kids and how much she regrets leaving for a richer man. Then she posts pictures all lovey-dovey with him somewhere overseas. She's been unstable for the last couple of years, which is why I remained in contact with her as her support system, but I sometimes consider cutting her off because she's toxic. Ben knows we still communicate, but has told me he didn't want to know anything about her and what she's up to. Should I give Jenny a heads up and talk to her about it? Is she even owed an explanation? I'm just afraid that she might go nuclear if she finds out and somehow involves the kids. The end.
Why'd you save this one for me? Because this one is a doozy. This one is a doozy. I don't even know where to start. Okay.
They divorced. But
so she moved several states away. So she's still out of state, Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But Ben, father of two, and her single mom live 5 minutes apart.
Mm-hmm. And seems to have been that way since, for 8 years or so.
And she's only seen her kids 5 times in a matter of years. I don't know that I would say anything because she's out of state. Mm-hmm. But I would have to think, I think the lens you need to look through is what is the best for the children. Knowing that she might be unstable, I think you have to look at it through what's best for the children to minimize any issues with them.
You mean in terms of...
If she finds out.
If she finds out. Mm-hmm. And wants to get custody or is rageful, right?
Right.
Because she mentioned she might go nuclear if she finds out.
Right. So if she's unhinged, is she going to call them and start telling them things? How do you protect the kids?
Do you ask that question? Would you ask that question even from a perspective of if this woman who's writing in was someone new that Ben met and wanted to start dating? A new single, they never knew each other before, no ties to Jenny or anything. Would you still?
I feel like it's different because she still talks
to Jenny,
to this person. And even though it's for other reasons, we've all kept a relationship with somebody far too long because somebody wasn't stable.
Yeah.
Out of whatever it can be. Fear. Mm-hmm. Out of that's the best for the time being because what the not talking will do might be worse. Mm-hmm. Or we're concerned about somebody because they're not stable.
Yeah.
And we want to be a solid,
support
a consistent person for them to reach out to if something's wrong. There's a lot of different reasons why you can keep somebody. And sometimes it's easier when they're on the phone, right? I have friends that live out of state and we still keep in contact. But I think if they were living next to me or in the same city, we probably would have had some sort of blowout or something.
Yeah,
and it's just easier to maintain long distance because the expectations are different. The percentage or the risk for some sort of huge meltdown, thing in person is different.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that she should start to pull away though.
Yeah, well, especially since she feels like she's been wanting to, right? She said she's been considering for some time cutting her off because she's toxic. Instability aside and the affair and cheating and, this woman probably already has her thoughts about what Jenny did to Ben since she likes Ben and she loves their family. This woman and ruined her family. She probably has feelings about that too.
She watched it happen.
She watched it happen. Yeah.
She's the catalyst for the divorce. Mm-hmm. It sounds like. Mm-hmm. She stepped out on her marriage.
Yeah.
And now is still with that guy. Who knows? Probably cheating on him, right? Who knows?
Right.
And so, I don't know. He doesn't technically owe her an explanation because she did this. Mm-hmm. She's the reason they're divorced. Mm-hmm. But the girlfriend, I don't know that she needs to call her up and say anything at this point because it's still early.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it's until they wanted to
disclose
disclose it to the kids. Mm-hmm. Because it seems to me what they should do is have their date nights and things off the radar from the kids to make sure that they're interested in one another and then decide.
Yeah.
Because they might go on a couple dates and just be like,
it was cute.
It works, but, whatever.
So that's a good point. Wait until maybe you're a little bit more serious or you're sure that this is a real thing before you start blending households.
Yep.
And telling nuclear Jenny. But there is also a point in here that says that Jenny says she still loves Ben and misses her kids and she regrets leaving. So does that factor in a little bit?
She's a grown-ass fucking woman.
Say it again.
Grown-ass woman. And she is in control of her own destiny.
Mm-hmm.
You miss him? Where you at?
Mm-hmm.
You miss your kids?
Where you at?
You? Yeah, where you at? You're not here.
Mm-hmm. You're overseas.
You're all talk.
Partying on a yacht right now.
You are just all talk.
Yeah.
Right? You're living in a fantasy.
That's it.
And
devoid of responsibility, because how cool is that she was like, oh, you want full custody? Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
So I can go live my life.
Right.
Like, yeah.
So to me, it always sounds great. It's kind of like getting back with that ex, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you remember all the good stuff, mm-hmm. but when it happens, it's like, oh yeah, now I remember.
Now I remember, yeah.
That's how it is with her husband and children, and that's sad.
Yeah. That's
real sad for everybody involved. Mm-hmm. So, she'd be lucky if her kids ever, give her a second chance as they get older and realize she's not around.
They are 8 and 6, the boys.
And do we know how long ago have they been divorced? 3 years?
3 years ago, yeah.
So the 8-year-old remembers some of his
definitely.
first memories, probably.
Mm-hmm.
He might vaguely remember his parents together.
Mm-hmm. And mommy moving out to be with somebody else, yeah.
And not being around. And so those kids haven't had a mother figure present.
Mm-hmm. Except for this girl.
She's
always
she's
around.
babysitting and things.
She's their godmother.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which that does show the relationship that once was.
Mm-hmm.
So she stepped it back to 2 times a month. But even so, I think stepping it back farther and just seeing if the chemistry is there.
Yeah.
Like, I have friends who are divorced they're not together anymore, that have had a child, and part of their agreement is no overnight visitors for 6 months, or whatever of dating, like, and they talk about how that is supposed to be. Now, a lot of that's 50-50 custody. If you are a mom several states away who has essentially given up your right, and you're not acting in any sort of appropriate frequency of seeing your children, when you're allowed to, well,
life is moving on without you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I do think that they should see if they have this chemistry, and if so, decide what would be the best for the children. And
back up, do you think it's him who should tell Jenny, or is it the girlfriend or the woman who should tell Jenny? Whose responsibility is to say, hey, Jenny, me and so we're an item now?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Both of yous?
Yeah, do a Zoom.
So we gathered you here today to let you know that we are a thing, girl. Yes. But we want you to keep sending that child support. Keep that up.
If the wannabe girlfriend is not talking to her anymore, say she's stepped it back and just be like, so sorry, I've been super busy, this or that, then I think you have to look at if they have whatever their paperwork says for the divorce and things like, if it outlines anything. But realistically, they don't have to say anything unless they think the kids are going to tell her on the phone, or they're going to make a household decision, like moving in together or something like that. Okay. I think those are the situations that would require a conversation, because you need to know when there's somebody else living with your children, regardless of what the custody split is. But at the same time, I think you just protect the children the best you can. Make sure their transition is good. Make sure that they understand what's going on. And then, minimize the chance that they'll be manipulated or used as a weapon.
Fallout.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's an ideal situation if it weren't for Jenny being over here being crazy.
Well, it sounds like Ben might have a job, but it might not be high paying. She's got her trust fund. I mean, they got it going on together.
They live in the same. It's lit.
I mean,
built-in babysitters and
yep.
That sounds ideal. I think y'all should give it a chance, but don't.
Well, maybe don't get married, because you got to keep your trust fund. So she's got to pay her child support.
Exactly.
Get that.
Next story. This last one is titled, Husband Loaned Thousands to His Ex Behind My Back. It's a shorty. We're going to push through it, okay? Breathe.
I can't breathe when I heard that. Say it again, please.
My husband loaned thousands to his ex behind my back. My first question is, whose goddamn account? My money too? Are we joint account?
I'm so mad right now.
Stop.
I'm so pissed off.
Stop. She says, my husband's ex is getting a divorce, and he loaned her thousands of dollars behind my back. He isn't aware I know, or that I know he speaks to and sees her behind my back. I found an email to her from a few months ago saying how much he wished it could have worked out between them.
Oh, man.
And to let him know if there's any chance of them exploring what could have been, and that he will always love her. She responded clearly that she isn't trying to do that, yet keeps talking to him all the time, like calls, texts. To me, this reads, she is using him, still being in love with her, to get tons of money to pay for whatever divorce fee she's struggling with. Obviously, I'm upset about the still in love with her, but I'm more concerned about him loaning her money.
What? The fuck?
He's clearly said he would give her a lot more if she asked. I am not supposed to know, so how can I bring this up to him? I think she is using him for the money. I could be wrong, which is why I'm hesitant to bring it up. She's really young, I think early 20s, and we are in our early 30s. I don't really have anyone I can trust to ask about this, so any advice is appreciated. I want to approach it, but not blow up our relationship. I think it's just leftover feelings like we all get sometimes.
What?
Girl.
What?
Girl.
No.
What is in the water?
No.
Down by where you live.
She needs... Wow. Okay, so I questioned her motivation in being with him.
Because I'm not concerned that he's still in love with her, but how much money are you getting?
Right.
Really? That's what she's concerned
Save
about.
some for me. That's what you're worried about. He's literally saying he still, wants to make it work with her.
Uh-huh. And reminiscing, going back down memory lane.
She's not milking him. He's giving her the milk.
Right.
He's literally let me give you some money. Let me take care of you. This is like creepy dad vibes too, but like, let me take care of you.
So that you can get divorced and so that we can be together.
I mean, that's what I'm...
But no, to her, it reads like she's using him. Like, girl, your brain is twisted.
Yeah. Wow.
You're only concerned about the money.
Wow.
Now, is that because maybe this gentle cad makes a lot of money and maybe you don't work? Or is it your money going into this account that's being loaned? Because that would be my problem. Mm-hmm. I would have a problem with still being in love, texting her, calling her, talking about what could have been, plus lending her what could possibly be my money.
Right. I work...
There's a whole bunch of issues here, not just...
Right. How she disregards those items is beyond me. And how she has been snooping through his stuff for months and has said nothing is beyond me.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot.
She don't want to blow up the relationship.
So it doesn't sound like she's in the relationship for love then.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it's a logical move for her. It's a logical play to be in that relationship. Mm-hmm. It sounds like she something that love was not the motivator.
To him and kind of throwing it in the other girl's, like only around because I have him now kind of thing.
Yeah.
And look at our... Jamie, this is asinine. And then her ending sentence, I think it's just feelings left over like we all get sometimes.
No, we don't.
What, girl?
No, we don't. When I'm done, I'm done.
Yeah.
Fuck you and the horse you rode in on. I am done.
I mean, you're whole ass married. It's not some little, just some little fling, when we were born. You're married to the man and he's texting his ex.
I once got mad when I was with somebody who shared some personal information about me being in debt.
Okay.
And I was livid because that is not that person's information to have. This is my personal situation you are privy to. You are not in a position to disclose a personal thing that we have talked about. And I was livid. There's boundaries.
Yeah.
Like clear ones.
Yeah.
And like, you don't do it. To me, you're not supposed to be texting and meeting up with your ex. You're not supposed to be lending money out if it's a true partnership. Even if it's your money that you brought into the marriage.
Right.
It's a symbol, right? It's a symbol of a family. Even if you don't have children or whatever, like you're still a family.
Right.
You're a family of two.
Right.
And even if you think she's going to pay you back, but let's be real, we know that money's not getting paid back.
Exactly.
And
and that there was no want for it to be.
And I don't even blame the girl. She's saying that's not what I want.
I'm glad you remember and pick up on that part. Yeah. I don't want to get back with you, but yes.
Yeah, but my hand's out.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at her. She's trying to get divorced and save money. So, like, I don't know. I think that girl has a twisted perspective. Mm-hmm. I question why she's in the relationship, why she's not more fired up about the relationship part. Maybe it's a self-worth issue.
I was thinking the same thing. It's got to be something with herself, because even her saying, you know, I'm not supposed to know. How do I bring it up? Or do I bring it up? Like, you think the worst that's going to happen is him being, mad, well, how did you know that? How did you know this? You're not supposed to. That's the least of your worries. Like, so you're mad he's going to break up with you for snooping possibly, and then your cash cow is gone, or your love life is, you know.
Yeah, so it could be, you know, these situations are never clear cut, right? Like, there could be multiple things going on. It at first appears to be the money situation, you know, but realistically, if I think about, you know, people I've known through the years, myself, you know, just there are various times where you have self-worth challenges, and some people struggle with it more than others.
Yeah. And you will hold on to someone for any cost.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can sometimes, and women are notorious for being able to justify literally anything.
Yep.
So maybe she's just so happy to be married and he's a good guy-ish, right? Until this recent stuff, that she's willing to justify all these things in her head.
Yeah.
Is what that sounds like it could be, just to keep the peace and be in a marriage, you know? Yeah. Who knows? But this is clearly a problem. He's clearly trying to step out.
Okay, so holding on to that point, if it was just the money and he had no feelings for this girl, he literally is just like, I knew you, we were exes, I care about you, here's the dough.
Right.
Outside of, I wish we could be back together and I still love you. Like, if it was just the money, how upset would you be? Because it's still behind your back. So there's a lie of omission that's lying.
If there was still some snooping going on and I saw the context and there wasn't any, it was dry, right? It was like, you know, super like,
here you go.
You know, like, here, pay me back if you can. If not, in your early 20s, like, I get it. You know, and we had lots of money where, like, we were so comfortable that it would, you know, it's not a...
You're not taking out of my mouth to feed someone
Exactly,
else. Yes.
exactly. Like, my kids are not going to college because of you know, or whatever, right? Like, wouldn't cause a strain on our finances. Knowing me, I would say something because I just can't help it. But also, the snooping thing bothers me a little bit because when you snoop, you always find something you're going to get upset about. Yeah. And if it's just the money and I don't have any relationship worries and we are well off, then I might not be so worried. But that's not most of our situations.
Yeah.
You know, we're not all, you know,
and
millionaire
obviously
trust fund kids or whatever, where skimming a couple thousand off the top is not even gonna, you know,
pennies on the dollar.
Exactly. No. It's not gonna, you know, raise a flag or anything like that. But fundamentally, I think it's still wrong. I might not say anything if I was rich, but that's not the case.
And then obviously the snooping is because I mean, I find it hard to believe that he's hiding his adoration for this ex, and so maybe she saw something like, why are you, or I saw you texting
track. The texting and knowing that they see knowing that they talk, what was it she said,
he isn't aware that I know, or that I know he speaks to and sees her behind my back.
Sees her.
She got a detective, honey.
Well, and that's the situation. Maybe they have all this money and she did get a private, but how could you sit there and monitor
for months without slicing someone's neck open? I mean, I'm just calling it like it is. Like, either she's so maniacal and sociopathic that she can sit back and watch this and be like, okay, I'm waiting for my moment. Like, what?
Or it's a self-worth issue.
Or it's a self-worth issue, which is more than likely.
Well, I feel like there's something else we aren't considering, and I'm just trying to think out loud as to maybe what it could be. She doesn't want to seem crazy, right, for snooping. So,
but I feel like that could be overcome with with what was the result of the snooping.
Right.
Look at all of these
Right.
things that you're doing.
Right. Exhibit A, Exhibit B.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. I just don't understand why she isn't more upset. Or it's a fantasy of hers, right? That, you know, there's lots of Pollys out there. Or she's like, maybe like, I like my life. That's fine. Go get you some. I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
Just fine in the house.
But
have somebody else do it.
I think we in the interest of time, focus on just the self-worth and not wanting to lose this quote unquote good thing maybe that she feels like she has, because it seems like he'd leave you in a drop of a hat. It feels like if that woman said, come hither, that he would hither. Right. So
he might even be hithering. He might even be hithering each other.
Right. What are they doing when they see each other, my love?
Yeah.
So you're worried about losing him, but it feels like that's something that's going to happen with or without you confronting him. Exactly. If he got the word from this girl now, 1 a.m. in the morning, he would be gone.
He's dropping bricks at her house, you know. And literally
he's dropping bands of hundreds
waiting to come on inside, you know.
So I think that's the least of your worries. You need to let him know that I know, and that whatever else comes out of that, say it is a divorce, it was going to happen with or without you, because he loves this ex.
Yep. This isn't, you know, leftover ravioli.
This isn't a flippant.
This is much more serious, and grass is always greener. If he got back with her, it still ain't gonna work out,
because
and then he'll be paying for her divorce again in just a new way.
Exactly.
It's just, honey,
it's crazy.
You have it wrong. You have it twisted.
You are worried about the wrong thing.
Yes, and I really, really hope you find a way to see your worth, to confront the situation for what it is, and.
Because you've been wrong. Don't let him turn it around and say that he...
okay.
Yeah. How dare you snoop? Because, you know, that's the first thing that's going to be the first thing.
Yeah. This is not okay. There's something that led you to looking in the first place. And then you found something and you've continued to monitor it. So whether you've decided not to let your feelings come through and just look at it from a financial perspective, or whatever the case may be, this is still a bad situation for you, and you have to start planning to protect yourself, because this won't end well for you if this keeps going on.
Yeah, and I hope maybe you have already been squirreling away some thousands of your own.
Yep.
Into another account, because this is not on solid ground.
Nope.
This is not this foundation.
Is a house of cards.
Yes. Yep. And I feel like I said, out of your control. If today he decided that today was the day, you would be getting divorced anyway. Right. So you need to confront him and let him know that you're not a fool, and that you know what he's been doing.
Yes. The questions you've asked at the beginning are not the right questions. Those questions are secondary.
They're superficial, really.
Yes, are secondary to your well-being in a partnership, in a marriage, those vows you took. That's the most important thing. And if you have somebody actively that you love and are in a marriage with,
betraying your trust,
seeking out somebody else's love, that is problematic, and you need to prepare for that.
It's a violation for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. We're all done, Jamie. What did you think of the collection of stories today?
They're good. I feel like they were pretty heavy. This is definitely not the mac and cheese story. Why don't I get the mac and cheese hike in the woods? These were heavy.
That was an icebreaker to the whole series.
Oh, it was.
Your icebreaker was the baby fund.
That was my ice? Stealing from a baby? That was my icebreaker? Man. No, some of these, I mean, life is hard.
I know. With partners,
There's so many complexities. We're human. We're flawed beings.
And then we come together and be human flawed beings together.
Yeah. And we're just fucking up all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think the stories were heavier, but I liked hearing about them all, because it really does make you think critically. What do I know? What don't I know? What am I assuming? What could it be that we're not even thinking?
Yeah.
And this is...
And even just not necessarily like applying, to your own relationships, but it makes you think Like, how am I functioning in my partnership, or how have I functioned in my partnership before?
Right. Because we're not perfect.
Yeah.
We're always evolving. And the people, what I've learned is the people who think they know it all have closed themselves off to learning anything. So like, we all have to be like forever students, whether that's academically, life, everything. We keep learning. You know, that's how you get wise.
All right, so I want to thank my girl Jamie for joining me on today's episode. I also want to thank my listeners for spending your commute, your workday, your workout, or whatever else you were doing while tuning in to the Relatable Reactions podcast. Be sure to subscribe and share the show with your friends and family. It's available on most podcast platforms. Lastly, if you know of a juicy or interesting story submitted on Reddit or somewhere else and you want to hear our relatable reactions to it, go ahead and send the link to relatable-reactions-podcast@gmail.com, and I may feature it on the show and give you a shout out. We'll be gracing your ears again soon. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for